Hello everybody, my name is Blaze and welcome to the channel. Today's video is going to be based on the F1 2026 season pack that released yesterday on the 3rd of June. It's for the F125 DLC, so it's not a full game, but you do get all 22 drivers and cars, plus the Mad Ring, the new Spanish Grand Prix. So diving straight into it, you can see here is the onboard for the RB22 at Zandvoort. It's on all the cars on realistic performance in time trial, so none of the cars are equal. It's all the actual performance of the car. Now, one thing I've noticed straight away, you will notice it in every other session apart from obviously time trial, the ERS, they've made a point of that being different. That is, in my experience, quite different. It drains the battery much quicker, but also recovers the battery much quicker. You do get a bit more recovery to work with, and the overtake mode, you basically just get infinite deployment. So that is a massive plus. The overtake, there's only one detection point, pretty realistic. All on the on every track, it's at the end of the lap. When you're within 1 second of the car head, that's when you get it, and it's pretty much available to you the entire time up until you come back around to the detection point. So for a whole lap, you get overtake. If you're still within 1 second by the time you get back to the detection point, it just resets. So if you're stuck behind a car, you pretty much get infinite overtake. It does still drain the battery, that is still there, but it does give you infinite deployment, so you can drain the battery multiple times throughout the lap from 100% basically. As far as the actual deployment itself, it does provide quite a power boost. It's very useful coming out of the corners, just to get that extra push coming out of it, especially in what I've noticed in the high speed corners on the X's. It does help quite a lot just to keep with the AI. As far as handling is concerned, it is, I want to say, very similar to the 2025 cars. I know the cars themselves in real life handle significantly differently. I've never driven one personally, so I would know how exactly they handle, but from driver feedback, from just watching the races, you can tell they are a lot different. They're supposed to have less downforce. I haven't really noticed that. I mean, some corners, yeah, they do have a little bit less grip, but the high speed corners is not really much of a difference. It's more in the medium speed corners you kind of notice that. The cars are a lot more nimble as well. They're a bit narrower and a bit shorter. Overall, just smaller cars, so they do go, especially in the low speed corners, they are a bit nicer to drive. They are, however, very twitchy on the throttle, especially coming out of like hairpins and some more low speed corners. So like second last corner at China, turn 10 at Bahrain, all those kinds of corners, it's very much hard to kind of maintain the rear. The AI seem to absolutely nail it on the exits, so don't know if that's they're just good with it, or if I'm personally having a massive skill issue. As for the active aero, that is something that's kind of getting used to. It very much affects the car. I mean, not having it on, you lose about, let's say, 70 kilometers an hour on a straight, which is quite an experience watching just how slow the car is when you don't have it on. It also, you can actually visibly see how much it affects it. If you look behind you and then activate the active aero or deactivate, you can see the back moving. You can see the back suspension going up or down. It's pretty aggressive, to be honest. Let's think, what else should we talk about? The tyres wear out quite quickly. I've noticed that during races, especially at China. I just did a career mode race not long ago at China, and the tyres just shred. I know that's probably quite realistic, but it is still drastically much more than the 2025 cars. To be fair, I haven't played this game in a while, but I did do some racing in the 2025 cars, and I did notice the tyres were a lot slower. They're a lot nicer on the tyres. So I don't know if that's just how aggressive these cars are now and how driver orientated they are, but there's that as well. And another thing, I'm sure a lot of people have been talking about, I'm sure you've seen a lot of people talking about it, the super clipping. Now, it's nowhere near as aggressive as it is in real life, but you do notice it whenever you run out of battery or run out of deploy on the straight. It does stop accelerating, it starts decelerating, not by a lot, but it's still very noticeable. Going through corners as well, when the super clipping activates, it just tanks your speed. It just absolutely destroys it. An example is probably Cops at Silverstone, 130R at Japan, at Suzuka even. All those kinds of corners where the super clipping would activate, it does shred a lot of speed there. And to be fair, a lot of people complain about it. I like it because it's realistic. It also kind of provides a bit of management side to it, a bit more than previously. Before, you could just keep it in medium deployment and just chill, sometimes hit overtake, but now it's you kind of have to use the battery quite a lot. Although it is surprisingly easy to keep it at 100%. Well, I wouldn't recommend it. The brakes feel horrid when it's 100% because it's not regenning. So the second the battery hits 100%, the brakes they basically just stop braking. Which, to be fair, is quite accurate. You can see it in Le Mans hypercars, probably in real life F1 if you look closely. You can also notice it in your actual road car if you drive an electric car. Sometimes when it hits the recharge limit, it just kind of stops braking-ish, kind of. Another thing is some things are a bit unrealistic, like for example the car performances. Cadillac is touch and go. Sometimes it'll have both drivers at the back, sometimes it'll have one driver at the back, one driver at the front. For example, like Perez sitting in last and Bottas in P9 or something, which is weird. And then sometimes they'll both be just absolutely rapid. Same with, well, not really the same with Aston Martin because Alonso seems to be overpowered, but sometimes Alonso will be like reaching the top 10 and Stroll will just be somewhere at the back. Another thing is the Mad Ring. It's an interesting track. Of course, it's not going to be realistic, but this is based off CAD data. The track technically doesn't exist yet. I think they're going to be building it on the run-up, like finishing it on the run-up to the actual Grand Prix itself. But I mean, this is a pretty accurate rendition of the track. You can see it on the screen right now. It does look pretty good. It does look very narrow though. There's not many overtaking spots because it's all pretty much sweeping corners and very narrow corners when there's heavy braking. The banked corner is interesting, to say the least. It's very easy, but it's also very hard if you take too tight of a line. And the fact, I know that street tracks always have blind corners, but this is like a new level of blind corners. And another thing, the track limits as well, absolutely horrendous. I mean, you probably saw it earlier in the lap in the second chicane, just straight over it. It is very strange, the track limits on this track. They're very inconsistent, but yeah. So other than the driver performances, the car performances, and Mad Ring, it is a pretty good DLC. Of course, there's no co-op career mode for this DLC, unfortunately. If you have a friend that does co-op career mode with you, that will unfortunately be a negative. But other than that, it's a pretty good DLC. Definitely worth getting if you want to do My Team career mode or driver career mode, or if you just want to do multiplayer league races. It's not a bad DLC. The cars, in my opinion, handle nicer than the 2025 cars. They're a bit more of a challenge, but they are much more rewarding when you're able to push them fully. It will take a lot of learning for a lot of drivers, and to be honest, it'll probably be very chaotic in online multiplayer. On the topic of online multiplayer, there's actually no ranked multiplayer with these cars, which some may see as a negative, some may see as a positive. I don't really do multiplayer, so it's not my cup of tea, but either way, people will be angry, people will not, doesn't really matter. But yeah, that's pretty much just my quick review of the 2026 DLC. It's a pretty good DLC, I'd say it's worth getting. Obviously, you don't have to if you don't want to, it's not a new game, so you can still access 2025 content, but if you want to drive the 2026 cars and the Mad Ring as well, I would suggest getting it. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Until next time.